This video is a creative work of fiction generated using AI technology. It features AI-generated portrayals of celebrities and political figures used purely for parody, satire, and storytelling. Any resemblance to real individuals, voices, or events is purely coincidental and intended for entertainment purposes only. Thank you for watching and enjoy. This is Barovia, a land forgotten by time, wrapped in the cold embrace of ever-present mist. It is a place where the sun dares not shine, where laughter is a memory, and where the living tread softly, as if fearful of waking the restless dead. Centuries ago, a nobleman named Strahd came to these lands. A brilliant tactician, a relentless warrior. He was a man who conquered kingdoms and shattered empires. Yet, even the greatest of men are not immune to the yearning of the heart. Strahd's desire, a longing unfulfilled, drove him to seek power beyond mortal comprehension. He made a pact with the dark powers, forces that dwell in shadow and thrive on despair. They granted him immortality, but at a price. The price was his soul, and the soul of this land. Barovia became a twisted reflection of his torment, a cage of his own making. The mists that now envelop this place serve as both his sentinel and his jailer. None leave without his permission, and few enter without his notice. Those who do are seldom the same when they emerge, if they emerge at all. Above it all looms Castle Ravenloft, an eternal monument to Strahd's dominance. Its spires pierce the sky like daggers, and within its stone walls, the Lord of Barovia broods. His gaze is ever watchful, his hunger insatiable, and his heart still yearns for that which he can never have. And so our story begins. Two travelers, far from their homes and their purpose, have unknowingly strayed into the mist's embrace. They have now found themselves ensnared by a destiny they cannot yet comprehend. Fitznoel, a paladin of Tyr, is a man driven by a sharp intellect and an even sharper tongue. His confidence isn't born from strength, but from the way he bends others to his will, weaving his words with a persuasive ease that has seen him through many trials. Though once brimming with self-assurance, here, in the suffocating gloom of this cursed land, even Fitz's influence falters. His usual ability to lead with charm and conviction is met with silence, as if the mists themselves seek to silence his every word. Beside him walks Rekar, a more reserved of the two. A cleric of Kelemvor, Rekar has always been a man of unwavering belief, yet even he cannot help but feel the chill that creeps under his skin as the mist thickens around them. It is not the physical cold that unsettles him, but something deeper, something older that stirs at the edges of his mind. In all his years, he has never felt anything quite like this. The mist doesn't just cloud the path, it clouds his thoughts, and for the first time, Rekar finds himself questioning the certainty that has always defined him. Their orders had been clear, though their quarry's nature remained elusive. Both men had been sent to locate a person of interest. The reason for their pursuit was known only in broad strokes. A debt left unpaid, a contract unfulfilled, or perhaps something else entirely. Neither man had asked too many questions, though both understood the importance of their mission. What they hadn't anticipated was the road's betrayal. Aggerford had been their intended destination, a logical waypoint for gathering information and continuing their hunt. But somewhere along the road, the familiar had become strange. The air grew dense, the trees seemed to shift, and the light itself dimmed, leaving them stranded in an unfamiliar land. Their trail had vanished into the mist, and with it, their certainty about where they were or where they were going. And then, just as doubt threatened to overwhelm them, they saw it. A village, its outline emerging like a phantom from the fog. Crooked rooftops, dim lanterns, and the faint glow of life promised some semblance of answers. Or so they hoped.
I'm starting to think we're a bit lost at this point. Rekar, this doesn't exactly look like Daggerford from what I remember.
Astute as ever, Fitz. I suppose you'll also tell me the mist feels a bit thick today. Or maybe you've got some sage insight on why the birds aren't singing.
All right. No need to get prickly. I'm just saying. This place doesn't exactly scream friendly pit stop. But we've been diverted here for a reason, haven't we?
Diverted. That's a word for it, I suppose, but if this is where the mist wanted us, I'd wager we won't find anything good waiting for us. You've noticed the way the air feels, haven't you? Heavy? Suffocating. Wrong.
I've noticed, Dracar. But what you want me to do? Stand here in the mist debating the hypotheticals of why we're lost? I say we keep moving. Worst case, we learn something about this place. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll even pick up our trail again.
Whatever pulled us here isn't natural. This place is wrong, and I don't think we've even begun to see how much.
Well, I don't think we have much of a choice, Dracar. Get over it, and let's see what this town has to offer.
And so, with the tension between them growing as thick as the mist around them, they made their way to the village. Neither man knew what awaited them, but in Barovia, the answers often come with a price. The village of Barovia lies like a dying beast in the valley, huddled under the oppressive weight of the encircling mists. Its buildings lean with age, their roofs sagging under the burden of decay. The faint light of a few scattered lanterns struggles to pierce the gloom, their flickering glow casting long, distorted shadows across the cobblestone streets. The streets are eerily quiet, save for the occasional creak of wood or the distant howl of a wolf. That sends a shiver down your spine. Even the few signs of life seem subdued, as though the people of Barovia have learned to keep their heads low and their presence quieter still. You catch glimpses of movement, a curtain pulled closed in haste, the shuffle of feet behind a half-closed door. They are watching you, these villagers, but not make any move to approach. Instead, their stares weigh heavy, filled with suspicion or perhaps fear. As the mist swirl and writhes around the two of you, a faint sound catches your attention. Voices, muted but distinct just ahead. You follow the sound through the oppressive fog, and soon shapes emerge in the gloom. Another pair of figures, strangers clad in travel-worn gear, stand near two pale, solemn children at the steps of a shadowy townhouse. The two strangers seem engrossed in a hurried conversation with the children, who point toward the imposing house behind them. The children's faces are pale, their hollow eyes wide with a mixture of fear and urgency. Before you can call out or approach, the strangers exchange a glance, steel themselves, and push through the creaking doors into the house.
Hey, Dracar, did you see that? Looks like we're not the only ones lost here.
I'm not sure what makes you think they're as lost as we are, but if that house is as welcoming as it looks, I'm not betting on their safe return.
Well, this is our first lead that hasn't run away upon us entering the town. I think we best go speak to those children, if only to just see if they're okay.
The mist curls and twists around your feet as you step cautiously forward, the oppressive silence broken only by the faint shuffle of your boots on the cobblestones. The children, pale and fragile against the backdrop of the looming townhouse, seem frozen in place, their wide eyes darting between you and the fog as though unsure which is more threatening.
Well, now what's this? Two young adventurers braving the fog all on their own? You've got courage, I'll give you that. But tell me, where exactly are we? Because I don't think this is anywhere near Daggerford.
The children don't immediately respond, their faces blank with fear as you speak to them.
Come on now, no need to be shy. My friend and I are just passing through, but it seems we've lost our way.
Would you knock it off, Fitz? You're creeping them out more than this persistent fog.
There's a monster in the basement, and our parents, they...
The young boy's voice breaks with fear as he presses it into the side of the young girl crying.
My name is Rose, and this is my brother Thorn. It's true. There is a monster in our house, and we're scared to go back in.
A monster? What kind of monster? And why are you out here alone?
Yeah, where are your parents?
I think they're still inside somewhere, but we're too scared to go look.
Rose looks up at the two of you, her lip quivering as a low howl cuts through the mist, drawing all of your attention to the encroaching shadows in the woods.
Are there lots of wolves in these parts?
Those aren't wolves, sir. We've seen them before. There's something bigger.
I'll draw my sword and face the mist while speaking to the children. Those two people you just spoke to, are they lost here like us?
Rose responds that they didn't say so, And as she does, more howls pierce through the mist, this time from more than one direction.
If those aren't wolves, then what in the world are making those noises?
It is at this point that Rose begins to briskly walk towards the house. As she ushers her brother inside, she calls out to you, urging you to come inside. As the children rush into the house, the door creaks closed behind them. But the howling continues. The mist presses in, thick and suffocating. From the fog and the edge of the trees, shadows shift, moving with unnatural speed. As the mist thickens, swirling around the figures that emerge from the trees, their forms solidifying into horrific shapes. Glowing eyes, gleaming fangs, and long, twisted claws. Werewolves stalk toward you, their movements predatory and deliberate, the low growls vibrating through the ground beneath your feet.
Looks like you've got your answer, Fitz. Now let's get the fuck out of here.
Agreed, I'm running into the house, Morgan.
I am too.
As you make your way to the door, the howls grow louder, more frantic. Closer now, as if the wolves know you're on the brink of stepping into safety. The door groans open under your touch, the wood creaking in protest as the mist clings to your boots and the air chills with the scent of wet earth and decay. Stepping inside, oppressive tension from the outside world is immediately lifted, replaced by an unsettling stillness that sits heavy in the air. Moving further into the house, you notice the children, Rose and Thorn, are nowhere to be seen. The house, at first glance, feels a world away from the decaying town outside. The inside of the house is a stark contrast to the rotten exterior you just left behind. Rich dark wood paneling lines the walls, the fine craftsmanship of the furniture evident, even in the dim light. A grand staircase winds upward to the second floor, its iron balusters intricately twisted in patterns that suggest an elegance long forgotten.
Hello, anyone there? Where did you kids go?
Keep your voice down, Fitz. The inside of this place is way too nice given how it looked outside. Something's going on here. Let's try to find those strangers that entered the house before us. I don't trust those kids.
Is there anything interesting to see in this room, Morgan? If not, we'll have to start checking the others.
First roll of the campaign, John. Give me a perception check.
Good luck, buddy.
That'll be a 13. I've got a -2 for my perception.
The most obvious thing that stands out to you in this main room of the house is the fireplace and the sword on display above it. After some inspection, you determine that it is ordinary, though of fine craftsmanship. Etchings of a windmill are worked into the hilt of this piece. The second thing you spot after multiple minutes of meticulously looking through the room is patterns built into the paneling of the room. Serpents and skulls are inconspicuously woven into the wall designs, and the decorative paneling follows the staircase as it circles upward to the second floor.
Well, I think I'm starting to agree with you, Raykar. These folks could use a new interior decorator.
Very funny. But, yeah, I think my suspicions were appropriate. Given that detail, I'm going to start checking these other rooms.
I'm going to take the sword off of its display, Morgan, and enter the nearby room with Raykar.
The hinges groan softly as the first door you both check swings open, revealing a small, unassuming closet. Inside, several dark cloaks hang from hooks, the fabric thick and dusty. A single top hat sits on a shelf, its brim slightly frayed.
I'll check the room next to this one.
The next room is grander than you might have expected. A wood-paneled dining room, resplendent in its opulence. The centerpiece of the room is an intricately carved mahogany table, its surface gleaming in the light of a crystal chandelier that hangs above it. Surrounding the table are high-backed chairs with sculpted armrests and plush, cushioned seats, their upholstery barely showing signs of age. The table itself is set with gleaming silverware and crystalware, polished to a dazzling shine as if awaiting a banquet that was never held. Mounted above the marble fireplace on the far wall is a large painting, its mahogany frame complementing the rest of the room's decor. The scene depicts an idyllic alpine vale, the soft greens and blues of the landscape starkly at odds with the oppressive atmosphere of the house.
It doesn't make sense. The outside of the house feels abandoned, but this looks like it's ready for a feast.
Well, if the host is expecting company, they sure have a flair for presentation. Almost makes you want to sit down for a bite, doesn't it?
This feels wrong. Too perfect. Like the entirety of the house is hiding something. I'm going to check the walls for more patterns.
Go ahead and make a perception check, Ronald.
That's an unnatural 20.
You gotta call it a tainted 20, Ronald.
Excuse me?
That's what the others were calling it.
Anyway, you do manage to find more designs in the paneling. What first seems to be elegant images of deer among the trees shows twisted faces carved into the tree trunks and wolves lurking amid the carved foliage of the walls. As you stand in the dining room, the unsettling perfection of the table and decor gnaws at the back of your minds. The air feels dense, and the silence presses down on you like a physical weight. Then, breaking that silence, you hear it. A soft creak, distant but distinct, coming from the floors back in the main room. It's slow and deliberate, as though someone or something is moving with caution.
Someone's here, Fitz. I'll move to hide behind the table with my sword drawn.
I'll join him in hiding with my sword drawn as well.
Both of you can make stealth checks. You'll have disadvantage due to your heavy armor.
I've only got a 5.
That's a natural one. We never were the quietest, were we?
You duck behind the large mahogany dining table, the cushioned chairs barely muffling the noise of your boots and chainmail as you hunker down. The chandelier above sways slightly, casting jagged, shifting shadows across the room. The creaking from the hallway stops abruptly, replaced by a silence. I think it seems to press against your ears. Then, breaking that silence, a voice calls out, bold and commanding, yet carrying a note of humor.
Well, well, what have we here? A pair of skulking gentlemen trying their best to vanish behind furniture? I dare say your hiding leaves something to be desired.
Do you think they've mistaken us for the house staff, Tova? Perhaps they're waiting for tea service.
Really, Wilter, I've seen more convincing stealth from a herd of buffalo. If we're dealing with criminals here, they're certainly not the subtle type.
Do you think they're whispering back there, trying to decide who should stand up first? Or perhaps drawing straws to see who explains their tactical retreat to us?
All right, enough. I'll stand up and level my sword at them. If you two have finished your little comedy routine, maybe you'd like to explain why you're barging into the room, cracking jokes like court jesters.
I'll begin to let a blaze of fire form in my hand as I speak to them. Let me hazard a guess. Your barking is meant to cover up how you've managed to blunder into a situation well beyond your understanding.
Now, Wilter, let's not frighten our new acquaintances. They've clearly had a rough go of things. We wouldn't want them scuttling back behind the table now, would we?
Say another word and you'll find out just how rough it can get.
Calm down, Fitz. We're not here to fight them. We were hoping to find you two, but we had heard speak of some kind of monster lurking about.
You've heard right. We've been tracking something down here, some kind of twisted creature that's been feeding on whatever poor souls come through this cursed house.
And we're no stranger to monsters. And a monster in the basement? That sounds like the perfect challenge. Not exactly the hunt we were expecting, but a monster's a monster. I say we give it a shot. Get a good look at what's down there.
What do you mean by a hunt? You two have known about the apparent monster here?
This whole place is getting more and more strange by the second.
Of course we did. You think we would have just come into the house just because those two ghostly children told us to? The name is Tova Ruse, and this is my compatriot Wilter Colden.
Those two were obviously apparitions. We've seen enough ghouls and ghosts to know that. Barovia is full of them.
So that's the name of this place, huh? Barovia?
Indeed it is. And it seems you two have become its next unwilling participants to become stuck here.
Nobody leaves this place, at least as far as we know. The curse set upon this land is linked to something far worse than whatever creature is in the basement of this house. We've been trapped in this region for only a handful of weeks, and have uncovered the secret to this land.
A vampire! It's a bloody vampire!
That's not too far off, given it was werewolves that forced us into coming into this house.
Precisely. The vampire lord, Strahd von Zarovich, controls this whole area, and until we are able to defeat him, all the folks of Barovia live only as long as he wills it.
I don't know how exactly you plan to take down a vampire lord as strong as he sounds, but I definitely didn't sign up for that.
We were given orders to deliver a criminal to justice, though it seems we don't have much of a choice at this rate when it comes to options.
Correct. We have attempted to leave, but the mist in this area is magical. It acts as a barrier that keeps you from escaping.
How about a proposal? You assist us in clearing this residence, and we will accompany you throughout our time in Barovia. I see it as mutually beneficial.
If the only way we're going to escape this place is by killing a vampire, then I think we should all take whatever help we can get. What do you think, Raykar?
Depends on the kind of help we're getting. Are you two competent fighters or wannabe adventurers?
I think you'll find us quite capable in a scuffle. I weave magic through my music, while Wilter here does it through his mind.
We would not have made it this far without knowing what we're doing. Wouldn't you agree?
We'll see how you two do when it comes to taking out this monster. Maybe by getting rid of it, all the townsfolk won't continue to hide from us.
If you're alongside us, you'll be just fine. That goes for the monster, and back in town, too.
So what part of the house have you two explored so far?
We had investigated what appeared to be a hunter's room. Some crossbows and trophies, though nothing of significance.
Have you two managed to spot the designs worked into the paneling?
Designs? I don't believe so. Let me have a look.
Inspecting the wall, Wilter, you're able to make out hidden engravings of strange faces and wolves amongst what seemed to be completely normal at first glance.
Now, isn't that interesting, Toba?
Yes. Were there more of these designs elsewhere?
Check the main living room.
Moving back to the main room, you both notice more hidden features in the wooden paneling. This time, you see serpents and skulls along the walls. The designs lead up to the second floor, following the staircase.
I'm not quite sure what could be the meaning behind these designs, but perhaps we should inspect the last room on this floor before moving on.
I'd wager they're just there to spook us. Let's check this last room.
The next door creaks open to reveal a spacious kitchen. At first glance, everything seems pristine, meticulously arranged as though awaiting use. Dishware, cookware, and utensils are neatly placed on the shelves, each piece spotless. A large work table sits in the center of the room, a wooden cutting board and rolling pin lying atop it. The smell of aged wood and faint traces of flour linger in the air. Against the far wall stands a stone, dome-shaped oven, its bent iron stovepipe leading up through a hole in the ceiling. In the south corner, a small dumbwaiter is set into the wall, its brass handle gleaming faintly in the dim light.
Anything else on these walls?
No roll needed since you're all looking. You see no further designs upon entering the kitchen.
Well, how do we get to the basement? I haven't seen any way downstairs.
Perhaps this dumbwaiter can lead there. The hunter's room had no passage downstairs either.
Using the pulley on the dumbwaiter, you are able to send it upstairs, but still not any further down past the kitchen level.
Looks like we're gonna have to check upstairs for something. Who knows what this creepy house is hiding from us?
And so they ascended. 4 souls, strangers bound by fate, climbed deeper into the heart of Barovia's secrets. In a house that had already displayed its evil intentions, they found themselves drawn toward the unknown, the lights of flickering candles, their only sanctuary in the suffocating dark.